Appalachian Football Magazine. Brought to you by Taco Bell, Integod Insurance, Teledial America, Logos Healthcare Rehabilitation, and by Sagebrush Steakhouses and Saloons.
For the 9th straight year, the Old Mountain Jug stays in Boone, North Carolina as the Appalachian State Mountaineers knock off their arch rival, the Catamounts of Western Carolina, Saturday by a final score of 20-16. Good evening, I'm Brian Estridge with the coach, Jerry Moore. And Coach, a big win on Saturday and a lot of smiling faces around Boone.
It was a terrific win. I was so happy for our players, our fans. It was just a great college football game, and against a good, well-coached football game.
You know, that's one thing we failed to mention there in the open, a big win against a team that maybe is a little bigger and we know a little more experienced.
Yeah, they've got a veteran football team. They had 21 seniors, and I just can't say enough the way our people played.
Again, we continue to see the emergence of a strong quarterback in Scott Satterfield.
Well, I believe so, and there's some other guys that are beginning to step up. I think as we were talking before the show started, you can just kind of go down the list of some young players. Jason Tyndall, for example, are beginning to step up when another guy like Brent David gets hurt, and that's a good sign when you got good young players stepping up like that.
Big win for the Mountaineers Saturday in Kid Brewer Stadium as Appalachian State comes away with a 20-16 victory over the Catamounts of Western Carolina. Chip Hooks over 100 yards and a lot more good superlatives as well. We'll take a look at first half after this.
Ground transportation provided to Appalachian Football Magazine by Mack Brown Incorporated, your GM and GO dealer in the High Country, on Highway 421 east of Boone.
Time to look at the first half highlights brought to you by Integod Insurance as Jerry Moore congratulates 14 Mountaineer seniors, and what a way to start the game.
End over end kick. Hayes will take it to the 5-yard line, has a wall in front of him. 10, 15, 20, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. He's gone. Ladies and gentlemen, the Catamounts have started it out with a TD.
So the Catamounts would lead it early on, 7-0, and Appalachian State starting off in a hole. Scott Satterfield hooks up the freshman Kevin Burton for a gain of 10. Later on a 1st and 10 play, watch the hit that Ray Gamma takes but hangs on. 17-yard gain for the Mountaineers, and now on 3rd and goal, Scott Satterfield loses the handle on the football. Kenny Banks picks it up, takes it back to the 19-yard line, and that's where the Catamounts would work again offensively. Lonnie Galloway to Harold Hines out of the backfield, one of the fullbacks, for a gain of 18 and a good open field tackle by Chad Gore. Then on 1st and 10, up the middle comes Marcus Roberts for a gain of 14. It would set up our 1st and goal. And
Galloway, turn, handed off fullback. Up the middle goes Marcus Roberts into the end zone, touchdown. From 5 yards out, Marcus Roberts.
14-0 this point. Western leading it over the Appalachian State Mountaineers. Appalachian back out on offense. Chip Hooks on a swing pass takes it for a gain of 21 down to the 45-yard line. Then Satterfield again in the pocket finds his tight end Jeff Vollmer for a gain of 29. The freshman rumbles down to the 33. Then later on in the drive, 2nd down and 5, Satterfield would roll to his right and be run out of bounds after a gain of 6 at the 22-yard line. Would set up a Kyler Ferguson 37-yard field goal attempt that was good. And at this point, it was Western Carolina 14, Appalachian State 3. Still in the first half. Appalachian 2 possessions later. Chip Hooks on the left side for a gain of 16. Chip would finish the day with 119 on the afternoon. Then Damon Scott on a 4th and 1 with a power eye gets 3 in a Mountaineer first down. And Scott Satterfield would call his own number again on a quarterback draw for a gain of 14, breaking tackles down to the 42-yard line of Western. And this time Scott Satterfield would find Damon Scott out of the backfield for a gain of 9 and sets up this.
Hey, Satterfield rolls right. Now will run it, has a block inside the 10. 5 touchdowns, Scott Satterfield.
14-10 at this point. 4:03 remaining in the first half. The Mountaineers are within 4 and feel the momentum moving their way. Galloway sacked. Mark Ivy for a loss of 7. And the first half would come to an end with Western Carolina leading it 14-10 over the Appalachian State Mountaineers. Well, the way that game starts out, Coach, you had to be worrying a little bit, down 14-0. You go in at halftime, and everyone in Kid Brewer Stadium had to feel like the momentum was on the side of the black and gold.
Well, a couple of things happened. Number one, I was still putting on my headset when the thing was 7-0, and of course that didn't have any bearing on the game other than the headset I originally had didn't work. But we didn't get the kick on the opening kickoff where we wanted it. We told Alan Gwynn we wanted it deep right, and he missed it. Hit it kind of soft and kind of high right down the middle. Our coverage people are deep right, and they got an alley to hit, and they hit it. And that's the mark of a well-coached football team on their part. And then I think the good thing was, though, Brian, we came right back, took that ball and drove it down inside their 15-yard line, even though we had the fumble there. You know, at least from a coaching standpoint, you feel confident, hey, we moved this football. And they take it back, and they take our fumble, go back, score, make it 14-0. But yet there was still that feeling of confidence that we could move the football and that we could control the football game.
Appalachian State down in two ways to start the ball game, one on the scoreboard, one emotionally. The mark of a good football team. They came right back. Second half highlights come your way right after this. Let's have a look at the second half highlights as Yosef and the Cat whisper in each other's ear. Western would have the ball on their first possession, and Mark Howell would get nothing.
High backfield now behind Galloway. He'll drop back in the pocket, looking over the middle, has a receiver out there. Picked off! It's Dexter Cloakley, 30, and all the way to the 36-yard line. DC ready to hold way.
Appalachian unable to move the football, so we'll pick it up one possession later with Western Carolina in possession. They give it off to Hines up the middle. No gain there. And then Kenny Pauley out to punt it away, and Don Blue with a great punt return. Gets a couple of big blocks down the sidelines. You'll see him scoot down the sideline. There's Matt Stevens with a big block, and a big block there from Larry Dennis frees up Don Blue down to the 45-yard line.
Satterfield pitching it back. Hooks inside the 20. 15 still on his feet. 10, 5, touchdown!
Wow. Wow. Oh, my goodness.
17-14 at this point. Appalachian State with a 3-point lead and all the momentum in Kid Brewer Stadium on their side. Lonnie Galloway trying to run the option. -2 there. 7 black jerseys around Galloway. This time, Sikorsky gets Galloway on 2nd and 12 for a loss of 8. Sets up 3rd down and 20. And watch Kevin Sikorsky again. Fights off, and then Holloway and Sikorsky break on him, and it's a loss of 9 for Galloway, and Pauley would have to punt it one more time for the Catamounts. 2 possessions later, we'll pick it up. Appalachian State in possession of the football. Scott Satterfield rolls to his right and finds Ray Gamma for a gain of 12 down to the 29-yard line. Then Damon Scott with a big run.
Handed off to Damon Scott, running up the middle, across the 45-40. He's at 40, missed out. 45-40, Western Carolina 30, 25-20, ridden down to the 18-yard line.
All the way down to the 17-yard line. Chip Hooks from the 17 with a 12-yard gain for the Mountaineers. Sets up a Kyler Ferguson field goal again. 27 yards. Mr. Smooth, Kyler Ferguson, kicks it through, and it's 20-14 to this point. Appalachian State would lead it by 6. Galloway still pushing his Catamounts down the field for a gain of 20 to Kerry Hayes. Then Galloway again back in the pocket. Pass is incomplete as Craig Aiken has it knocked out of his hands by Jamie Coleman. Galloway one more time. Steps up. This is where he's dangerous as he keeps it all the way down to the 26-yard line of Appalachian State. Then Galloway would roll to his right. Fires it out, incomplete. Another big lick from Chad Gould. Galloway one more time. Rolls to his right under some pressure and unloads it to Hines out of the backfield.
4th and goal. He rolls to the left. Big pressure by Sikorsky. He's going to keep it and run out of bounds. Mountaineer home.
Western Carolina with one last chance from the 49-yard line. Galloway with happy feet being pressured in the pocket by the Mountaineer defensive unit. Decides to tuck it under. He'll get to the 49, and that is all. Galloway one more time. Back in the pocket. Last chance for the Catamounts. Mountaineers applying pressure, throws it downfield. Ball slapped away by the Mountaineers. And Appalachian State would keep the Old Mountain Jug for the 9th straight year. The final score in Kid Brewer Stadium, Appalachian 20, Western Carolina 16. This look at the second half highlights brought to you by Logos Healthcare Rehabilitation.
Coach, I'll be honest with you, that last shot there looked like you might have been a little excited.
I was excited and I was cold. That was cold water that they poured down me. It is a great feeling. I wish we could do that every ball game.
Second half showed a lot of character, down going into the second half, and you guys fought back and just really gave it all you had.
You know, Brian, you take a football team that's 7-1, 8-1. That's kind of expected. I mean, you know that those guys will fight back. They'll give it everything they got. A season like we've had, man, there's something extra that rallies a group of men like that. And I can't say enough for our seniors. We got 14 really special men that are leading us. It takes a lot of heart and a lot of guts because it's easy to lead when everything's going good. But we got some terrific leaders.
I think something has to be said for you and your coaching staff. It hasn't been an easy year. There have been a lot of things off the field that have affected this program and this team, but you've all seemed to bring it all together.
I'm the luckiest coach in the world. I've got, number one, got good players, and number two, I'm surrounded with a terrific coaching staff. I mean, those guys, hours don't mean anything to them. They love those players. I mean, they coach hard now. Our coaches coach hard, and those players know how they feel about them too. You know, we'll get after a guy as hard as anybody going, but then when it's over, you know, we're going to pat him on the tail and we're going to grab him around the neck and hug him up and try to make a real man out of him.
There's something special about this program, something special about that ball game last Saturday, and something special about next year. Still a lot more to come on Appalachian Football Magazine, including a look at one of those seniors. We'll do that for you after this timeout. Welcome back to Appalachian Football Magazine. Time now for the Sagebrush Steakhouse and Saloon Coaches Question of the Week, Coach. And as we get ready for next year, Nelson Hendricks down in Morganton, North Carolina, wants to know, Coach, how many people are you going to sign this year and what positions are you looking at?
Well, Nelson, we'll probably sign in the neighborhood of 16 to 18 players. We could possibly go 2 more, maybe. And probably we'll devote a lot of our time looking for defensive players. What we try to do is our depth chart on our wall is color-coded by seniors, juniors, and by colored cards. And we'll take cards off for their senior year and junior year, and then look at all those holes really 2 years in advance. And so we're really going to go heavy for defensive people, probably defensive linemen, a few defensive backs, linebackers and outside linebackers. We're always looking for just the gifted athlete also.
Congratulations, Nelson. Win yourself a Sagebrush dinner for 2, as well as a T-shirt from the Appalachian Sports Network. You too can be a winner simply by writing Coach Jerry Moore at the Appalachian Sports Network, Broomkirk Gym, Boone, North Carolina, 28608. On Saturday, the Mountaineers lost one of their great seniors for that ball game, hopefully only. Brent David got hurt on the first play of the ball game, hurt his ankle. Right now, Susan Barlow takes a look at the leader from High Point. Jerry Moore talked about the seniors earlier. Here's Susan with Brent David.
Inside linebacker Brent David dazzles fans and devastates opponents with his tackles. His football talent is awesome, but what's more impressive about Brent is his motivation to play games with discomfort and pain. His true love for the game keeps him going strong.
Well, injury to me is something that is just mental. I can play with it, especially when you look to the sidelines and you see younger guys, younger linebackers on the sideline, and I think that my leadership is needed on the field, whether it is or not. I think that it is, so I try to stay out there.
Brent David is the type of player that is down to earth and in touch with reality. He hopes to play professional football in the near future, but tries not to let the pressure of playing before NFL scouts get to him. Brent knows what he needs to do to succeed on the field and concentrates on that alone.
The pressure from the scouts don't really bother me. I know that I had to do something to get them here, so I think I have to maintain doing those things throughout a game. So, I mean, I love the game. I love to play, so it's not any pressure at all.
With the season almost at a close, Brent will have the chance to enjoy some well-deserved free time. Even as his Appalachian career ends, he won't stop thinking about or loving the game of football.
I need to get caught up in a lot of work, try to get myself in shape for maybe some NFL testing that hopefully I can do for some pro teams. Coach Ken will work with me a lot in the mornings and in the evenings, and I'm kind of looking forward to the off season, I guess. It'll be the first time I hadn't gone through spring throughout my college career, but I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Brent David is a definite leader. He loves the guys he plays with and his coaches as well. His friendship with defensive coordinator Ruffin McNeil is especially important to Brent.
It's almost like a father-son thing, you know, with Coach McNeil and myself. He's a great guy, and we've shared a lot of things between each other on the field and off the field. He's taught me a lot of things about football, a lot of things about life, and the things that he taught me about life, you know, I cherish a little more. You know, I can relate those things that he taught me about life to football, on the field, off the field, to anything. And I really appreciate him.
Brent also has a close relationship with his parents. He says that he loves to please them and make them proud. His relationship with his father is very special because his dad is blind. Brent gives 110% to every game so that his father can visualize his son in his own way.
He means a lot to me, and just to see him do the things that he does and see his accomplishments, it makes me strive hard. I mean, I tell Coach McNeil a lot that my father can't see me play on the field. He listens to the radio, you know, and he listens to the announcer on the radio, and he can't see me devastate a blocker. You know, he has to hear me make a tackle. You know, the radio announcer won't say, well, Brent David devastates a blocker but didn't make the tackle. He'll say, well, he made the tackle. So I have to strive extra hard to get there, get to the ball, so that my father can hear my name, so that he can be proud. You know, I love to please my family. I think that's what I'm here for.
As Brent plays his last collegiate game on Saturday, his emotions will be high. He wants people to remember Brent David as a hard player who loved to practice and loves the game. Brent will be missed next season as a player and as a leader, but his future won't be without football and memories of the Mountaineers.
Coach, a great leader in Brent David. Real quickly, he got hurt on the first play of the game Saturday. What's his status for VMI this week?
I think he's going to be questionable right now. He didn't practice the early part of the week. Hopefully he'll be well. I think if there's any way to get well, Brent David will be well.
We heard him say that earlier in the piece. When we come back on Appalachian Football Magazine, we'll take a look at those keydets of VMI. Also, your Inagon MVP still to come. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Time now for the Inagon Insurance Most Valuable Performer, and for the second week in a row, we give it to the redshirt sophomore from Hillsborough, North Carolina, product of Orange County High School. Scott Satterfield, the Mountaineer QB, was 11 of 20 on the afternoon, throwing the football for 123 yards. He also carried the football 15 times for 64 yards and a touchdown. Scott Satterfield, for the second week in a row, leading the charge for the Mountaineers as the Inagon MVP.
I guess they were in the business of having miracle finishes at that time after coming back from their James Madison victory, and you know, it's just so frustrating because you talk about it with the kids, and we had them on the sideline, and you know, whatever you do, you know, just bat the ball down, and the young man hits it up in the air and they make the great catch and so forth. But you know, obviously those are mistakes that you can't make if you want to be a successful program, and those are the type of things that we're trying to eliminate and educate our kids on, and hopefully you know, we can keep that from happening. At least one thing we know, if it happens, Campbell won't be throwing it this year.
Coach, Jim Shuck always does a great job at VMI. Tough place to play.
It is. They're one of the most improved football teams in our league.
It'll be a tough ball game for the Mountaineers as they wrap up the season. Keep in mind, a win Saturday with all the adversity the Mountaineers have faced this year. Appalachian's 4-4 in the toughest 1AA league in America. For Coach Jerry Moore, I'm Brian Estridge. See you next week.